Now we've been here before. Another Resident Evil movie announcement. Another chance to get our hopes up. But this time it's different. Zach Cregger and Shay Hatton are officially working on a new Resident Evil film. Or at least according to The Hollywood Reporter, who says studios are fighting for a package that will see the Barbarian filmmaker write and direct a new movie based on the horror video game. And this could actually be the franchise revival fans have been waiting for. What is up, everybody? Andy here from the Residents of Evil, and let's talk all things upcoming Resident Evil movie. Cregger, the master behind Barbarian, knows how to build tension and mess with audience expectations, while Hatton, who's worked on John Wick and Army of the Dead, brings high-octane action to the table. Could this finally be the perfect mix of horror and adrenaline? If you've seen Barbarian, you know Zach Cregger understands horror on a deep psychological level. That movie made you feel safe and then yanked the rug from under you. Sound familiar? That's exactly what the best Resident Evil games do. Luring you into a false sense of security before hitting you with something terrifying. Now imagine that kind of creeping dread in a Spencer Mansion or Raccoon City setting. The slow, uneasy pacing of Resident Evil 1 or the sheer unpredictability of Resident Evil 7. Cregger could absolutely pull that off. One thing that set Barbarian apart was how it built tension through its setting. Dark hallways, the fear of the unknown, the feeling that something is just off. That's exactly what kind of atmosphere we need in a Resident Evil film. Could we finally get a Resident Evil movie that leans into pure survival horror instead of just action? If so, this could be the scariest Resident Evil adaptation yet. Now let's talk about the other half of the equation, Shay Hatton. This guy knows how to write stylish, fast-paced action, and his work on John Wick and Army of the Dead proves it. So what does that mean for Resident Evil? Well, think about the franchise evolution. The early games were all about survival horror, but as the series went on, we got more action-heavy entries like Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5. If Hatton brings the same level of intense choreographed combat as John Wick, we could get some of the best live-action fights in Resident Evil history. Here's the big question. Will this be a direct adaptation of one of the Resident Evil games, or will they create something original? We all know Resident Evil movies have had mixed results. The Paul W.S. Anderson films were fun in their own way, but barely resembled the games. And then there was Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, which tried to be more faithful but felt rushed and underdeveloped. And let's not even talk about the Netflix series. Cregger and Hatton could take a different approach. Here are the possibilities. They could go for a faithful adaptation of the game. And let's not forget there were rumours of a Resident Evil movie by esteemed insider Dusk Gollum. And in case you missed it, a couple of years ago, a film called The Umbrella Chronicles was registered for funding in Sudbury, Ontario, Canada for the amount of 2 million Canadian dollars. This was the same location and the same production company as Welcome to Raccoon City. Could this be a continuation of that production with Zach Cregger at the helm? Imagine a high-quality, faithful adaptation of Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 4. Leon Kennedy navigating the nightmare of Raccoon City or battling through the creepy rural village. With the right cast and direction, this could be the best Resident Evil movie yet. Or maybe they do an original story set in the universe. Maybe we get a fresh storyline set within the world of Resident Evil. A side story that expands the lore. Something like an untold story from Raccoon City. Or a secret Umbrella experiment gone horribly wrong. Or they do a full franchise reimagining. What if they took the core elements of Resident Evil, survival horror, bioweapons, terrifying creatures, and built something entirely new? A film that captures the feeling of the games, but isn't shackled to the specific storyline. As we know, with Resident Evil 9 rumoured to be in development, could Capcom be planning some kind of tie-in between the movie and the next game? We've seen them do cross-media promotions before, so it wouldn't be surprising if this film ends up connecting to the game's storyline in some way. Maybe it expands on events leading up to Resident Evil 9, or introduces new characters that appear in both the game and the film. If Capcom and the filmmakers collaborate, this could be the most integrated Resident Evil movie yet. With Zach Cregger and Shay Hatton leading the charge, this could finally be the Resident Evil adaptation that gets it right. By blending Cregger's deep horror instincts with Hatton's stylish action, we might get a movie that captures the best of both worlds, terrifying, intense, and true to the spirit of the franchise. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you guys think? Should this film be a faithful adaptation or an original story? And which Resident Evil characters should absolutely need to be in it? Drop your thoughts in the comments section and let's break it down together. Once again, this has been Andy, and hopefully we'll see you once again in the Residents of Evil.